Hi, cat. Come and get some mango, baby.
One, two, 1, 2, 3. Self-awareness is a superpower. My name is KathyLaDonna. Welcome to Soul and Vibration. I hope the free thinkers are doing well. And if you are not doing well, I'm happy to remind you that you are the most powerful person that you know. You are the most powerful person that you know because only you can create your reality. Hey guys, today is March 17th and the energies in the day adds up and reduce the number 9 vibration. If today is your birthday, happy birthday. So when it comes to the spirit animal, whoops, okay, so one fell out and we're gonna go with it. So the spirit animal for the day is the starfish energy. And my thoughts, the first thought that comes to mind for the starfish energy is the firm exterior and how the interior is more delicate and sensitive than the outer exterior. It's like this brings me to the whole exoskeleton vibe, you know, us pretty much, you know, showing up with the tougher side of ourselves opposed to being more vulnerable and exposing and letting other people see what's happening within us. Like looking at that card brings me back to this video that someone had introduced me to a long time ago. Not Brian Katie. What's her name? I can't think of her name right now, or it'll come to me. Let me say that, because the mind is funny. Whatever you say, that's what the mind will do. So if I say it'll come to me, it will come to me. It'll come to me by the end of this video. But anyways, Brene Brown. See, be careful what you say to yourself and the commands that you make. Because in the past, like I would say things like, oh, I can't say it, or I don't know the word, or I don't know this, or like, be careful the commands that you make to yourself is just like making commands to your smart devices. So, you know, be careful of the commands you make to yourself. But it was Brene Brown a long time ago. Someone had shared a video with me, and the video, this was like over 10, 12 years ago. And it was about how vulnerability is innovative. And with the starfish energy, with the whole vulnerability is innovative type vibe, I think about how, you know, it's natural for us to want to protect ourselves and guard ourselves and kind of like, you know, like have that hard exterior and not allow anybody to see certain things about us out of fear that it will make us seem weak or make us weak. And over time, I realized that like once I've come to term with something or have a clear understanding about something, or better yet, whatever I feel about something, and if I'm confident and grounded with whatever it is that I'm feeling, it doesn't matter what anybody else feels. Meaning, say before, you know, when it comes to say sharing certain things, I wouldn't want to share certain things with other people because I used to feel like sharing certain things would make me weak. And I realized that as long as I'm good when it comes to my views and my experience on that, or me in relations to that, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. And a person could get vulnerable and share and still stand in their truth. I feel like what makes us weak is when we get vulnerable, vulnerable and look for other people to validate us. Where if I share something with you and I could care less if you share back with me, I mean, yes, we're vibing here, but if me and you are having a conversation and I pour my heart out to you, and I'm not looking for you to pour your heart back out to me, I feel like I still stand in my truth because I'm not looking for you to like validate my experience or let me know it's okay or join me there. So to me, so that's how I see it. And over the years, I've learned to share what I can afford to share. So when I say share what I can afford to share, and that's with everyone. So for me, sharing what I can afford to share means that once I share what I'm sharing, you don't have to share back with me just because I shared that with you. I mean, if you want to and it feels natural for you to, get naked with me as I, share myself. And with the star card, get naked, it brings me to the star card in the tarot, where on that card, the person is completely naked. And the star card comes after the tower moment where it's like something catastrophic has happened and the person is completely naked, meaning they're vulnerable, and to me, that's what's necessary in order for us to heal, in order for us to move on. Because when you think of the star card in the tarot, the person is naked and there's 1 foot in the water, 1 foot on land, and it talks about the balance that it brings. But I brought up Brene Brown because her talk was about how innovation, how vulnerability leads to innovation. And vulnerability, I don't remember exactly how it went, but as far as like what is in my mind, vulnerability leads to innovation because when we're vulnerable, we're truthful, we're honest about exactly what happened, where we take accountability. And I find that the most successful people that I've known are successful because they're the kind of people that say, if it's going to be, it's up to me. They take full accountability and responsibility for everything in their lives, even things that are out of their control, because it comes down to how I choose to show up, how I choose to respond. So it's not about like how dirty or greasy somebody did me. It's like, okay, what was my role in it? And my role could be as simple as me people pleasing, or my role could be as simple as me allowing them to mistreat me because, I want them to like me or whatever it is. But it comes back to say, what's my role in it and what will I do different? That's me standing my ground, taking responsibility for that thing and deciding, what's going to happen next. So with the starfish energy, it brings me to that vulnerability. And I look at the moon, and the moon conjuncts Pluto. The moon is our inner world, the inner conversations that's happening within us. And Pluto energy is a transformative energy. When you think of Pluto energy, think of going to the therapist, think of a psychology, think of someone who is diving deep when it comes to your emotions, or you diving deep when it comes to your emotions. But also when you think of Pluto energy, think of death and rebirth, think of the ending and the beginning. So when we dive deep into a thought process or an emotion, or something that hurt us deeply, and understand it for what it is and not run from it, we take our power back, we take control. I think of when people have bullies, and the more you back down from the bully, even if the bully is bigger and stronger than you, the more power that bully gets, the more confident that bully feels. Where even if the bully is bigger and stronger than you and you're willing to give the bully your best fight, the bully more than likely is, a coward and really don't want to fight, but want somebody to match their energy, match your energy, meaning that they feed off the fear, where it's like you're not matching them with fear, you're matching them with bravery and courage. So I see that when it comes to, say, me experiencing certain things, and there's a part of me that wants to run, and it's like, no, I can't run. I need to stand up to this thing, because if I don't, it's going to consume me. Like, for example, to me, a simple example might be as simple as, say, us having an experience that is traumatizing, and we give ourselves time to heal, but at the same time we don't allow that situation to paralyze us in place and stop us from living, because we know that's what will happen if we don't face that thing head on. When it comes to the spirit animal, we have the Four of Swords in the reversal position. This is the Four of Swords in the upright position. In the reversal position, the Four of Swords energy to me feels unease or not at peace with a decision, or feeling unstable in some way. When I look at, say, the day adding up and reducing to the number 9 vibration. The path of the day is the number 9. So something needs to be let go of so we can move on to the next level. But when the number 9 is operating in the lower vibration, the number 9 being the ending doesn't want to be at the ending. So this is where the number 9 pretty much, I think of the kid that's like the biggest kid in high school, meaning the oldest in high school, because they don't want to move on, because in high school they're the king or the queen. Everybody knows them, everybody looks up to them, and the thought of going to college and being a nobody is terrifying, so they hold on to where they are. So this is where we have outgrown certain people, things, or situations, but we hold on for dear life because it just feels safer there. Where the whole personality vibe of the day is the number 8 vibration. The day is the 17th. 1 plus 7 is 8. So with 1 plus 7 being 8, the number 8 vibe to the day brings us to say, the material, tangible aspects of things, and the whole tunnel vision vibe. So this is where, we're holding on to the idea of something, or holding on to, this is the way this is supposed to be because this is the way it's been done for how long, even though it's not working. Because the number 1 energy is us, the individuals, is things we experience on a material level. It's an idea, it's the beginning, it's how we identify with reality. The number 7 is a deep, introspective, investigative energy. The number 7 is also, associated with the moon and Neptune. So the number 7 has a dreamy aspect to it, but I think that's the whole investigating, deep diving aspect to the number 7. But 1 plus 7 is 8. So the number 8 is traditional, it's systematic. It's an energy that is routine oriented. It's an energy that deals with, say, status and superiority, because the number 8 energy could be the overseer, the one in charge. So with the personality vibe of the day, and then Venus being the ruler of the day, and Venus and Taurus, this is where we're holding on again because, it looks good to be a part of this, or it sounds good to have this title on my name. It sounds good to say I'm a part of this, or I don't feel that I am enough if I am not a part of this thing or the next. So even though I'm being called to release and let go, it feels safer to hold on. And that's where the whole vulnerability part comes in, because being vulnerable means being completely honest, being honest and transparent with ourselves. And, it might not be necessary for you to put everybody in your business and let everybody know where you are and how you feel when it comes to certain things, but at least don't lie to yourself. And you'll be so surprised how easy it is for us to lie to ourselves and deceive ourselves and convince ourselves of otherwise. But whenever we do that for too long, you start to experience physical things falling apart around you to show you that you're out of alignment with whatever it is you're trying to lie to yourself about. This is where there's physical things that show up in our relationships, or dis-ease shows up in our body, or different issues happening around us where things around us start falling apart, and we feel like, oh my God, life is not fair. Am I bad lucked? What does this mean or that mean? But we're just we're out of alignment with the frequency of what was. And even if we want to hold on, everything else starts crumbling, because energy is, moving forward, and we're always going to attract to what we're in alignment with. So with the number 9 energy ruling the day, something comes to an end. Ending is necessary. That is required. Letting go is required. But it might not feel that easy to let go, because again, with the 4 of Swords in the reversal position, all these thoughts going through our head about instability and, not feeling safe when it comes to letting go of this, that, or the next. It's a person that has always wanted to follow a certain career path, and doors are opening up, but they want to hold on to that over there and welcome this new thing. And you can't do both. You got to make sacrifices. You got to have faith. You got to take a step and just trust that, the next step will appear, and every time you need to take a step, just know that there will be a place for you to plant your feet. You will land when you put your foot down and move forward. But yes, today the moon is in Aquarius. It just entered into Aquarian energy. So with the moon in Aquarius, Aquarian energy, you know, when we entered into Aquarius season, when the sun was there, like that was very intense for me. I feel like as the years go by, I become more aware, present, and observant of what I'm feeling. And when it came to Aquarian energy, I just knew that, you know, when the sun and Mercury was there, it's like I felt myself going through things mentally and emotionally, but not being able to pin it. And I guess that goes back to the whole air aspect of Aquarian energy. It's a thinking energy. So it's like when it comes to, say, the feelings, not saying that Aquarius people don't have feelings and things like that, but it just felt like it felt like my feelings were, it's like I was trying to find words for my feelings instead of just like, you know, just falling into it and just feeling it. So with the moon in Aquarius, which is our inner world in Aquarian energy, this is where we could find ourselves going back and forth when it comes to, say, feeling responsible in a practical, tangible way, but then wanting freedom. So it's like responsibility, freedom. It's almost like I think of a seesaw energy going back and forth, where it's like responsibility, freedom, tradition, innovation. It's like back and forth between what was safe and what's familiar, and newness, innovation, and freedom. And it's like that whole straddling back and forth energy. And we could find ourselves experiencing that as our emotions could go from one extreme to the next, where it's like, okay, but this is, you know, this feels safe, and this is what my family did or my ancestors did or whatever. But at the same time, that's not speaking to my heart anymore. I want a new experience. And it's just the whole back and forth. And with the starfish energy, it goes back to, say, vulnerability, meaning tell the truth. You know, a friend once said to me, lie to people, but not yourself. You know, tell the truth. And for me, I find that journaling helps me to be completely honest. It helps me to confess on paper. It helps me to tell my truth and keep telling the truth until I can even tell more truth, because our mind is so powerful and so good at even hiding stuff. We could hide things from ourselves and even lie and convince ourselves that, you know, I don't like this and this for that reason, when really we don't like this and this because it intimidates us, or it makes us feel less than, or it makes us feel powerless because we don't feel like we're enough for whatever reason. So the mind is so powerful when it comes to us convincing ourselves of whatever it is that we want to convince ourselves of. But the moon conjunct Pluto, the inner world wants to experience a level of transformation, innovation. And the moon conjunct Pluto is positively aspecting Pisces, Mercury, and Neptune. Pisces, the sun is in Pisces, Mercury is also in Pisces. So and Neptune is in Pisces. So when it comes to the moon, Neptune, and Mercury, Pisces energy is a dreamy energy, our ability to tap into, you know, different realms and reality, tap into the less than 1% of the tap into more than the less than 1% of reality that we're experiencing. So when I think of Pluto conjunct the moon is in a place where it's willing to dive deep in order to find truth, in order to understand things on a deeper level, you know. And with the star card in the upright position, the star card coming up, you know, it comes back to being vulnerable, being honest. Like, be honest with yourself and what it is that you're feeling, so you can get to the bottom of where that feeling came from, and, you know, bring truth to the situation where you realize, okay, this is just a feeling and it stems from this fear. And this is why I'm trying to convince myself that this is my ideal partner, this is the place I want to live in, or this is what I want to do. Because if I'm not here, then, you know, I'm not keeping up with my peers, or I'm behind, you know. So this is why I'm fighting for this, that, and the next. And when we're able to be honest with ourselves, you know, we can realize that, wow, like, I'm allowing this to control my life. And then we can take a step back and make proper decisions for ourselves. And the mind won't fight us because, you know, we've made sense. of why we're doing whatever it is that we're doing. But when it comes to, say, the energies of the day, you know, I hope you guys are able to say, you know, make the most of the energies of the day. And making the most of the energies of the day by allowing yourself to just flow. It's like the oil lamp behind me, like us not fully identifying with anything. Like I think about, say, when you're driving, you never want to drive so close to someone where if they take a sudden stop, you end up, you know, crashing into them. I think about the different things that we identify with and the different things that we follow. We never want to follow something so closely to the point that we're afraid to change because we're so identified with that thing. That thing becomes a part of our identity. I remember a long time ago, I started reading this book, 80-10-10 by Dr. Douglas Graham. And it's a book about like health and veganism and raw food eating and living. And around the same time, I became aware of blood types. And I remember I was speaking to someone who follows Dr. Douglas Graham very closely, to the point where he even made friends with Douglas Graham. And the person started the raw lifestyle because they had a knee injury and they were going through some things. And I remember I learned about the blood type, and the person was a certain blood type that had certain requirements. And I made a suggestion to that person, like saying, you should look into this and that and the next, because even though the person had, you know, take on this new lifestyle, they were experiencing certain symptoms that clearly stated that there's some kind of a deficiency or an imbalance or something going on. And I remember bringing this thing to this person's attention, and the person freaked out and was like, no way, blah, 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 whatever, because for them to incorporate something else into their diet or lifestyle, it would mean that they're no longer in alignment or can fully identify with the path they were identifying with. And it kind of became like a religion. So yeah, when we follow things so closely, even when we're called to do what's best for ourselves, we can find ourselves rejecting what's best for ourselves, because then that would mean that we can't call ourselves by this title or that title anymore. So when it comes to, say, what's happening in your life, what titles or things that you might be so identified with, to the point that you are clinging on for dear life, even when that thing is shaking you off and saying, let go, move on. You guys, such a pleasure sharing this message with you as usual. If you would like to book a reading with me or check out my exclusive content only on Patreon, the links for that is in the description box below. Please let me know you're here with me by dropping me a brown heart in the comment box below. I would love to hear from you and look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Love yourself as if your life depended on it, because it does. Take care of yourself, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.